Presidential candidate Marco Rubio does not think very highly of women who get abortions. Rubio decided that it would be a great idea in an interview to insult more than half the population of the country by saying that women look forward to having lots of abortions so they can sell baby parts. Watch.
Relate that to the defunding of Planned Parenthood. How does that principle apply?
Well, that's a different principle. Planned Parenthood is an organization. They do not have a right to receive federal funding. They receive federal funding because policymakers in the past believed that because of the services they provided, they were worthy of federal funding. I believe they have lost that right, that they have lost that privilege because of what these videos have revealed. And so what I've argued is, let's take the money that Planned Parenthood gets, let's not cut a penny, and let's take it from Planned Parenthood and give it to federally qualified health centers across this country who provide services to women, women's health services, but do not provide abortions. There is a strong bipartisan consensus in America that taxpayer money should not be used to fund abortions. And in the case of Planned Parenthood, number one, it is very unclear how all that money is intermingled, and number two, they have now been exposed for being involved in the trafficking of fetal human tissue
but what do you say to the people who have medical issues that fetal tissue has helped provide medical research and has helped these people live better lives? What do you say to those people?
So there are cases, we're not getting into the weeds on it, but it's an important question. And there are cases where a child is miscarried or there's some other, natural end to a pregnancy. And in those cases, if there's something that can be salvaged from it that could help someone else, we're for it. No different than organ donation, where unfortunately someone who's young and healthy dies in a car accident. And I've had a relative who died an untimely death, and his organs were harvested and helped save people and provide organs for them. That's different from saying we're going to take the fetal tissue of aborted fetuses, because now what you've done is you've created an industry. Now what you've done is you've created an incentive for people to be pushed into abortions so that those tissues can be harvested and sold for a profit.
You've created an industry, an aborted fetus industry. Really? Well, let's take a look at that claim. Now, according to a recent AP survey published in the Boston Globe, abortion rates nationally have actually fallen by 12% across the board. So, abortion has actually fallen. So if they're pushing people into abortions, they're doing a terrible job. Now, you could say that, well, the reason abortion is down is because of all these new anti-abortion laws, right? Some very, very strict. Well, some of those were actually passed in states like Indiana, Missouri, Ohio, and Oklahoma. Now, those states have seen a reduction in abortion numbers by about 15% since 2010. But wait, among some of the more liberal states, such as New York, Washington, and Oregon, that haven't actually passed any anti-abortion laws, guess what they also had for a decline? About the same rate, about 15%. They've also had a reduction in abortions without having to pass all these anti-abortion laws. That's very interesting. Now, 5 of the 6 states with the biggest declines, Hawaii at 30%, New Mexico at 24%, Nevada at 22%, and Rhode Island and Connecticut have passed no recent laws to restrict abortions. So, what does that bring me to? What's my conclusion here? So if women, as Marco Rubio claims, were really looking forward to aborting their babies and making money off fetal tissue, don't you think abortion would actually be up, not down? I mean, that's a pretty poor business model, right? Well, obviously what we're doing isn't working, pushing women into abortion so we can sell fetal tissue. Doesn't seem to be working very well. It doesn't seem to be a very lucrative industry. This is from Marco Rubio, who's supposed to be really good at business. Supposed to be a Republican, super good at business, right? Free market. Well, turns out he's kind of bad at business because he obviously doesn't understand how it works. And he obviously doesn't understand what actually goes on in Planned Parenthood, which is no money. First of all, no money from the federal government actually goes to fund abortions, according to the Hyde Amendment. You look up the Hyde Amendment. Oh, yeah, but you don't know how much the money is intermingled. Planned Parenthood only does 3% of what Planned Parenthood does is abortion. The rest is health screenings. Yeah, but they don't do mammograms. No, but they refer you out. That's how most places do it. Most doctors' offices do this. They refer it out to a specialist that does mammograms. One by one, you see these bullshit arguments continue to crumble And yet they continue to cling on to this. These lies, this bullshit. Why? Well, as Marco Rubio says, we want to take the money out of Planned Parenthood. Oh, but don't worry, we're going to give it to other women's health organizations. What other women's health organizations? No other organization does as much for women as Planned Parenthood does. So what other organizations? I've reported once on these organizations that Jeb Bush, who had defunded Planned Parenthood in Florida, he defunded Planned Parenthood, and guess where he gave the that federal money to? He gave it to abstinence-only and pro-life organizations. That's your health organization. That's your other women's health organizations. These are places that will actively lie to you, crisis pregnancy centers. They will lie to women and about abortion and try to do everything they can to counsel women away from making that choice. And yet, this is where they want to steer that federal money. If they are successful at defunding Planned Parenthood, that is where the money would go, into a crisis pregnancy center, most likely, or abstinence-only programs. So don't tell me that, no, we're just going to shift it to another organization that's going to do just as great work as Planned Parenthood does, but without that abortion. Because, the abortion's so much of what they do. It's 3%. 3%. And what they get for the fetal tissue donations covers transportation. It recoups losses from the donation to science. There's so much bullshit surrounding this issue. So much bullshit. So many lies. So many distortions. And the videos themselves are just a huge part of that. A huge part of that distortion.